Right in. All right. How's 2021 treating everybody so far?
Great, great way to start off the year. God is good. It's good to see everybody too. Hi.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks for being here. Okay. Let me do a tiny bit of housekeeping with you guys, and then we're going to talk a little bit of, I'm going to get philosophical with you for about a minute or two, and then we're going to talk about the database. Sound fair? All
Yeah.
right. Okay. A couple things I want to go over. So, first of all, tomorrow we're going to do Bold 100. So before you say, I can't do 100, or before you say, all of a sudden I'm going to feel sick or something like that, let's talk about the point of it and what it's all about. Okay. So in Bold is a big Keller Williams class that generally people will take after Ignite. The last one they did was in October. I suspect there'll be one that's starting here in the next month or so. We've been doing it digital for the last 3 or 4 go arounds. Okay.
Ignite starts on this week sometime.
Bold does?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Ignite.
Oh, Ignite started yesterday. So if you're new and you're not in Ignite, get in touch with Lucy or Melody right away because we want you to get into Ignite. That's also virtual or on Zoom. Okay. So Bold is a conditioning class. It's a 7-week class, and it really helps you. It's a lot of mindset work. Helps you understand some of the mindset, presentation, scripts, behavior, routine, all kinds of stuff like that. Okay. One of the exercises that they do in Bold is they give everyone an opportunity. I mean, not that you have to be given this opportunity, but they suggest that during the time of Bold, you do this at least once, which is a Bold 100. So you wake up in the morning and your goal that day is to talk to 100 people. So many of us know that in order to net 100 grand, we've been talking about this for a long time. And I'm not saying that should be your goal. I'm just saying that is overwhelmingly the most popular answer when I ask people what they want to make and what they're what their goal is $100,000. We know that you need to have 11 conversations or 11 contacts per day. This is an opportunity to push real hard, okay, to have 100 in one day. Now, that doesn't mean that if you hit 80 or 60 or 12 that you're bad or you lost or something like that. This is an exercise so that you can push yourself and prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you think you're capable of. Okay. So if I push you to do 100 and instead of doing 11, you do 44. If you've never done 44 before, you now know you can do 44, and doing 11 will be a piece of cake. Okay. We have been doing this for about 6 or 7 months where we do this on the first Wednesday of each month. In many months, I've been able to secure all the appointments and all the beginnings of relationships for my goals for the entire month simply by taking serious action on this one day. Okay. So many of us know that the goal is to, not everyone's goal, but one of the most common goals is to set one appointment a week and hold 3 appointments a month. Okay. It's very possible that if you go have 100 conversations with somebody, you could set all the appointments in one day. Okay. So that is going to be tomorrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our morning huddle like normal, 8:30 to 9. I'm going to leave the room on. We'll turn off the recorder, of course. We'll turn off you can turn off your camera if you want. Turn off your sound. And this room will be basically a place to congregate and make your calls and do your lead gen. If you don't want to participate, that's fine. I'm just asking you to just push yourself a little bit. Okay. Do more than you're used to doing. Make a call that you've been scared to make. Send a message you've been scared to make. Try something new. Send a video text. Poke somebody on LinkedIn or whatever. Okay, let's do something we haven't done in an effort to build the number of relationships we have. We're going to talk about database here in just a second, so it all kind of fits together. Okay, do not forget that if you go on vulcan7.com, okay, I will put everything here in the chat, vulcan7.com. This is the username, and this is the password, okay? And that is a site where you can access for sale by owners, expired listings, and withdrawn listings. My assistant is at work right now. If you are looking for a call list through Cole, then all you need to do is send me, probably the easiest way to do it today is through WhatsApp. Just send me the full address and I will send you the closest 1,500 names and numbers of the people that live nearby. We can also do it, although it takes a little bit more time, happy to do it, but it does take a little bit more time, a specific neighborhood. Just make sure you include the city so it's nice and easy for her to find, okay? If you can get that to me by lunchtime today, I'll get you the list by lunchtime. If you get it to me after lunchtime, I'll get it to you before you go to bed tonight, okay? And you'll be ready to do it in the morning. Ideally, tomorrow is not for, oh yeah, it's Bold 100, let me send Bill a list, okay? Because tomorrow she'll be working for me, right? So let's get all of your requests in today, if at all possible, okay? If for some reason you have some type of obligation and you want to still push yourself, there's no rule that says you can't do a Bold 100 on Thursday or next Monday or Sunday or whatever. Make sense?
Yes, quick question, Bill. So Vulcan7.com, the username is Roswell PC and the password is consultants with the exclamation.
That's right.
And then we just go on there and we'll access the for sale by owners.
Yeah, so it's a to be honest, I'm not overwhelmingly fluent on how to manipulate the data and extract it and download it and all, but there is a ton of training stuff and best practices and additional scripts and all kinds of stuff on the site. So look around and it's yours to use. Okay.
And two, I wanted to ask, where do you access the scripts because you were talking about the for sale owner script and the seller script.
So remember that all the scripts, the first place you should look when you say, oh, I wonder where it is either if it's likely to be a video, look on the YouTube page and search for the title. If it is likely to be a file or an image or something like that, go to the Google Drive. There's a script file within the Google Drive, and it has an ungodly amount of scripts. Okay.
Bill,
Yes, ma'am.
when you say YouTube page, which one? Is there like more than one? Because there's like Sam, and is there a PC? Is there a GLG? Or is that just all like all the
okay? I want to make sure that everyone hears this loud and clear. Okay. We have a private YouTube page. Okay. We've had a link to the private YouTube page just for Roswell PC in the email for 6 months or more. So please, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to the email on Sunday and it says private YouTube page. Click on the link, become a subscriber. You'll get notifications when I add things. I'm adding videos every day. This is being recorded, for example. This will be uploaded before lunchtime. Please take a look. There are videos for everything. I mean, we've been recording videos since when this program started in March. You guys can go back and listen from March what I thought about coronavirus. I was very diplomatic by the way, right? But this is, almost a year's worth of videos, you guys. Buyer presentation, seller presentation, scripts, objection handlers, mindset, profit share, the list goes on. I mean, every single thing we've talked about for 9 months is available by video, okay? So yes, Sam has a YouTube page. A bunch of people have YouTube pages. This one is just for PC. This is where we house all of our content, okay? All the masterminds, all the success series interviews, all that stuff, okay? Okay, next is I want to, let's talk a little bit about the database, okay? Oh, by the way, I haven't made this announcement yet, but Friday, Elena Corbett is going to be our success series interview. Elena was on the ALC last year. I believe she's on the ALC again this year. Her and her husband, Tony, have well over a 6-figure business. She's been in the business for a long time, and we'll be learning a little bit more about her journey and how she's grown her business. Her business really took a jump in 2020. So many people will say, coronavirus. I'm not making commentary, but the world's going to do what the world's going to do. What you can control is how many people you speak to and what attitude you bring and how helpful and valid you are in the marketplace. Okay. If there's more than 20 closings in the city of Atlanta this year, then you can hit your goals. You just got to go out and get it. Make sense? We have a bunch of agents that had career years in 2020. Okay. All right. Make sense?
Hey, Bill,
Yes, ma'am.
one question, back to the call lists, with the ones that we get through Cole Realty. Can you just, because some of the lists I've been working with, I get, and this is maybe this is just something I have to get used to, but I get a lot of numbers that are not, like it's like a completely not correct. It's like I get a tone, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just wondering about the integrity of the numbers, or the, you know, of
These are not numbers, like we didn't, like the website. I'm going to give you a somewhat of a sarcastic answer. Okay. So the company didn't come out and say, hey, we're trying to put together a list of names and numbers so we can sell it to realtors so they can call you when you're not expecting a number. So just make sure you give us the most accurate information for you. That never happened, and that will never happen, right? What they're doing is they're using whatever algorithms or whatever data sources they're using behind the scenes to try to extract this information. So what I have found is about, I would say probably 2/3 to 75% of the information is accurate, and the rest of it's complete junk. Okay. And unfortunately, the quality is in the quantity.
Well, right, but also, are they, we don't have any indication if they're landlines versus cell numbers?
It is my understanding, well, we pay for cell phone numbers, so they may be including the landline, but you should have a cell phone number in there too, if it's available.
Okay.
And just so you know, I don't want to turn this into a do not call list session, but
No, I don't either.
Diane and I are working behind the scenes to try to figure out the best way to scrub this list against the do not call. It is not scrubbed against the do not call. Okay.
Well, Cole Realty has an option, and they will scrub that list for you. You just need to sign up on the do not call something or other, and the information's right there on Cole Realty. Somebody just has to
you
do
figure
it.
that out. I'll take you to lunch. Thank you.
Well, give me the password and everything, and I'll figure it out for you.
Done. Oh man, this day is starting so good. All right, stay tuned. I'm going to give you that message, that password privately. Okay. All right, you guys.
Bill, we had access to that at my previous
company.
Yes, we had access to it. We just pulled up Cole, and it told us whether or not it was DNC, whether their cell was, their home phone. It gave all that information on Cole.
All right, we're going to figure this thing out for all you guys. I don't want you to take any unnecessary risks, and I definitely don't want you to get in trouble. Okay. All right. I want to give you the latest update with means renter. I'm not sure I understand that question, Greta. Can you ask that? Paid for
Sorry. What it means is there was some discussion around, like, you look at, you got the address, you can look up the property, and see it. And when you call, they give you what the price, when it was mortgaged, the price, how much they owe on it. And sometimes it's 0 and 0. And I kind of wondered, we talked about maybe if it's 0 and 0, is it an indicator that they are renters, or that possibly they are, no? Or that they
I would just say they couldn't find the information somewhere.
Why no data?
Okay. And honestly, even if they're renters, I would just say the same thing, and they'll tell you they're renters, and you can offer them the opportunity to learn more about home purchasing if they're interested.
Okay. I just didn't know if that's information.
Call. If we spend 10 minutes analyzing who might live there, what they might owe, when they bought it, what their interest rate is, and then you finally get to calling them and it's the bad number, gosh, what a waste of time. Right. Worst case scenario is you get totally stumped and you're like, I'm losing you. I'll call you right back. You hang up, you go do 5 minutes of research and call them back. Okay. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, let me give you the latest data on database. Okay. if you haven't figured this out, Keller Williams is not just pulling this stuff from the sky. They have been interviewing top producers inside Keller Williams and outside Keller Williams for over 20 years, okay? What we now know, in this past year, I've been telling you it's about 10 to 1. The ratio now, or the statistics now, are about 16 to 1. What I mean by that is for every 16 people that you have in your database that you communicate with systematically, meaning 36 touches like we discussed last week, okay, that's a combination of voice connections, in-person connections, emailing, texting, happy birthdays, home anniversaries, Christmas cards, that kind of stuff, right? 36 touches per year. For every 16 people you have in your database, you should have one closing. So we calculated yesterday, I think it was yesterday, that if the average closing is $10,000, right, and for every 16 people in your database, you got one closing, then every single person in your database you should think of as worth $625. I hate saying worth, but you could get $625 from having that person in your database annually. Now, if that doesn't change the way you think about growing your database, I don't know how to help you guys, okay? $625 a piece. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you want to have a business that you sell, let's say 12 units, you need to give a really good look at your database. And if it's shy of 192 people, there is virtually nothing more important than growing that database as quickly as you can, okay? So some of us have goals even a good bit bigger than that. Some of us have goals of 36 units, okay? 36 units, you need a database of 576 people, right? So if you've got a database right now of 150, I'm not going to tell you it's not possible. I'm just telling you, statistically speaking, you need a bigger database, okay? So at the beginning of this year, I'm going to ask you, it's kind of like Pam suggested in the chat the other day, right? It's the beginning of the year, write down your mileage, right? Because at the end of the year, you're going to be like, ah, damn, what was my mileage back in January, right? And you're going to go try to look at your receipts from when you bought tires in April and try to recalculate. What a big mess. Just write it down right now. Okay, we're going to write down the size of our database right now, and we're going to write down the size of our pipeline right now. Okay, in the email I sent on Sunday, I made 2 strong suggestions. I said, we want to have 3 times the number of people in the units that we want to sell. So if we want to sell 12 units, we want a pipeline of 36 people, and a deadline for that is ASAP, but definitely by the end of March, okay? And a database, we want 16 times the number of people that we want to sell. So if we want 12 sales, we need 192 people in our database that we have a system of communicating with by the end of March, if not sooner. Is that a reasonable goal for anybody? Does anyone think that's unrealistic? Okay, beautiful. So what does that mean? Even if you have a database that is of the size, like, is Jan still on? Yeah, Jan's on. We were talking about this earlier. Jan's got a database of like 12,000 people, right? She's got plenty of people in her database in order to have the sales goals that she has, okay? She could probably 10x her sales goals and still be fine, okay? That's not the point. The point is that we're a growing business and that we should be making a commitment every day to growing our database, because there's some junk in that 12,000. I think we would all agree, right? And so the more people that we can build deeper relationships with, the more successful and large our business will become, okay? More opportunity that we can provide for our clients and for those that might want to come into our world in the form of leverage in the future. Make sense? So I'm going to start doing this each week. And what I did is I just suggested a couple of weekly goals. Okay, it's just a suggestion. I know everyone's goals are different. I'm not trying to put any undue pressure on anybody. Okay, but this week's challenge, I said on Sunday, was to commit to scheduling a minimum of 1 appointment with a buyer or seller, adding 10 people to my database is simply 2 a day, adding 3 people to the pipeline. These are people that we want to transact with in the next 12 months. Okay. And I made a suggestion to print the seller listing agreement and the buyer brokerage agreement and review it, read every word. Okay. And make certain that you understand it completely. If you do not understand it, ask a question in the chat or reach out to me independently, or you can call the agent mentors or someone on the ALC, or that should be plenty of resources for you. Okay. Anyone have any questions right now?
I do. Go ahead.
What's that?
The easiest place to find those agreements to print.
Those agreements are GAR forms, so you can find them on FMLS, or you can find them on Docusign.
Wait, I'm sorry, what? You were both speaking.
Docusign.
Okay, is there a Docusign? I know there's a video, but are we going to have a Docusign class? Because I have 2 accounts and I'm having trouble with them crossing. I'd love a class.
I don't know much about how to navigate 2 accounts, but if you're in the office, Lucy can show you that, or a lot of us could show you how to navigate it. I think actually Sam did a Docusign class yesterday. So I mean, there is if you go on Sam's YouTube, there's like 10 videos on syncing Docusign and searching for client, or what do you call it, contracts and whatnot. And then you can just save it and download it and review it from there. But guys, all of our effort, you could also find the agreements, thank you, John, in Remine. Okay. All of our efforts are designed to get in front of somebody, right? And the second we get in front of somebody, the goal there is to get some paperwork signed, right? And so it's not going to be long before you're expected to explain a listing agreement, or you're expected to explain a buyer agreement, or the purchase and sale, or something like that. So let's prepare ourselves for that. Okay. I would review, well, while I'm on this soapbox, I'll give you a couple of contracts that I think you should be familiar with. Okay. Can somebody type these in the chat while I say them? Okay. Purchase and sale. FHA loan exhibit, conventional loan exhibit, all cash exhibit, VA loan exhibit. Those are all the financing. USDA too, but I've never done a USDA loan in my whole career. Okay. Seller's disclosure statement, community association disclosure statement, exclusive seller listing agreement, an exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. Okay. Did I forget any? I don't think so. Okay. You guys should be experts at that. Read every word of every one of those contracts. Okay. Make sure, I haven't looked at this yet, but I imagine they're the 2021 versions. There will be some changes to the 2021 contracts. Just be on the lookout for Melba's class. You'll usually do a couple classes, and Colonel usually do a couple classes this month to make sure that you understand those small adjustments. Okay. The final paperwork needs to be in Docusign within Command. If you want to use Remine or some other system to prior to getting the final paperwork, you're free to do so. Okay, that's referencing your question, Greta. Okay, the simplest way to do it is in Docusign. If you're just simply looking for a blank version of a contract, it's probably Remine is the quickest way to do it. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the database for a second. Remember, our goal now, if you don't have a goal, I'm going to assign you a goal, is analyze what is the status of my database right now. Is it organized? Is it inputted into Command? And how large is it? And then based on the number of units you want to sell, you have to ask yourself, is it the size it needs to be? If it's not the size it needs to be, I'm going to ask you to determine what is your daily commitment to growing it. Okay, can you grow it by 3 a day, 4 a day, 5 a day? The longer it takes you to get to that level, the longer it's going to take you to make the kind of money you want to make. Make sense?
Yes.
It's just there's no other way to say it. This business is all about, it is the intersection of how many relationships do I have and how deep are those relationships. Assuming you know what to say when you're in front of people, there is nothing else more important than building relationships. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, I got a any questions on database? If you don't know what a 36 touch plan is, there was a video that we did last week on that with exactly what those 36 touches could be, including neighborhood nurtures and client events and monthly or quarterly phone calls and you know, birthday cards and that kind of stuff. Okay. All right, just so I know, who knows who they're calling this week in terms of the DTD2? Go ahead, John. Tell us. Who wants to tell me?
A and W and texting in.
Beautiful. A and W and texting in. If the person's last name ends in A, or if the person's last name ends in W, then they should get a call from you this week. And if their last name ends in N, as in Nancy, they should get a text from you this week. If you don't know what to say, go to the agent pivot scripts, and you need to make sure that before you call them and say, hey, John, I haven't talked to you in 17 years since we were in college together. Got any referrals? That will yield you zero business. Okay. You need to make some deposits before you ask for withdrawals. Okay. So love on them, ask them how their family is, ask them, make sure everything is okay. See if there's any questions they have about real estate, ask them about their life, and then they will ask you about yours. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. This is to eliminate what's called call bias. Call bias would be when I look at somebody's name, I'm like, oh, Joe Williams. You know, Joe and I kind of had a little beef at the end of our transaction 17 years ago. I think I'll wait another day to call him, right? It's only going to get weirder tomorrow. Okay. So if you never want to call the guy again, just get rid of him. But that's not what I would suggest. I would suggest calling him. Okay. You never know where opportunity is going to come from. I got 2 referrals yesterday for my sales business. One was a buyer of a listing that I sold to him 5 years ago. Okay, the buyer was represented by a different agent. Buyer sends me an email, says, hey, you were the listing agent on the property I bought 5 years ago. I want to move. Come and talk to me about selling the home. I also got another referral from a woman who I was given a referral for, gosh, what would that have been like? That was 12 years ago. Okay. She bought a home in Vinings with me. I helped her sell the home. She moved out to the sticks somewhere, and I had referred that away because it was way out of my area. And she just sent me her sister-in-law. They want to sell and buy in Smyrna. Okay. So if somebody just bought and they had a bad experience, they will buy again. They will need real estate help in the future. You just have to massage that relationship over time. Just continue to give them value. Okay. There's one idea. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll draw this out for you guys. Okay. Then I'll get philosophical. This is something that Gary's shown us a little bit. Okay. Can y'all see this? It's a little wave, and see those dots at the top. Okay. Let's just assume for a second that dot.
9 o'clock.
What? Oh, all right. I'm going to run a couple minutes late. If you need to head off, that's fine. Okay. See this right here? You got a dot at the top of this one, and then a dot at the top of this one. See that? Okay. This represents the sales cycle. Okay. If somebody buys a piece of property today, they will probably not buy again for another 7 to 8 years, according to the research. I know there's people that stay in their home 30 years. I know there's people that stay in their home 6 months. Okay. On average, the data suggests it's about once every 7 to 8 years. So if I were to give you a lead and it was right here, which is, let's say, 2 months before they're going to buy, you would say, thanks, man. That's such a great lead. Thank you so much. I'll pay you a bunch of money for that. Right? But the day after they buy, they go down here where they're not going to do squat for 7 years. Make sense? So if I were to give you a lead right here, you know, a couple of weeks after they bought, you would say, dude, they just bought. Why are you giving me this lead? Okay. I don't want you to think of these people as leads. I want you to think of these people as people. Okay. These are people that have questions, that need financial advice, that need real estate advice, that need an economist of choice, right? That's our job. So basically all of these steps right here are all the touch points that need to happen between their previous sale and their next transaction. Does that make sense? We know that 90% of the agents or 90% of the consumers that actually transact will not use the same agent the next time. Okay. So basically everyone is fair game. Okay. I don't know about that, who the agent was that represented that buyer, but apparently they're not around anymore, or they forgot to reach out to this buyer and I'm the only realtor they could find. Does that make sense? So don't underestimate the value of somebody down here. Your job is to make sure that you're the one that they come to when they need all this stuff, right? Oh, I need a blinds person. Oh, I need a roofing guy. Oh, I need, to fix this electrical outlet, whatever. Okay. Because all of these moments are an opportunity where you'll be in line for a referral. Make sense? Okay. Remember that the average consumer not average, so over 70% of consumers interview one agent and choose that agent. So it's top of mind. So how committed are you to being the value provider for your people? I want you to, that's kind of what I want you to think about when it comes to the database. Okay. Is I've said this before and I hate saying it, but it's just so true, is that the average real estate agent isn't that good. Okay. And if you are good at what you do and you take pride in your work, okay, then you should feel compelled to go out into the community and make sure that people don't work with a weak agent whenever they need something. Okay. So if you look at everyone and you say, man, all I got to do is put your data into some machine and then mostly set up a bunch of automated touches over the course of the next 7 to 8 years, and love on you and give you custom value and learn more about our, how to build a relationship with you. And then every year I'll receive an average of $625. That's not a bad gig, is it?
No.
Okay. What have you guys heard today?
Being a good real estate agent is being good at what you do. We should know every single one of these scripts, which is about purchase and sale agreement, all the exhibits by heart, knowing them backwards and forwards.
Yep. Right. So I'm not asking you guys to be attorneys, but you should be able to explain each of these documents and understand how to fill them out. Okay. All of them. Okay. If you're unsure about something, just send me a little picture and say, hey, what do you put here? Do you put 120 days? Do you put 6%? Do you put 3%? Do you put to be determined? Like whatever it is, just send me a picture and I'll tell you exactly how to fix it. We got lots of people in the room who know how to write contracts. Okay.
All right. And Bill, I've done a USDA. If anybody needs any help with that, it's not that much difference. Just
I figured. I was just saying it's not all that common. So
yeah, I was
not
saying,
at the top of this list of things that I would
okay.
Study. But I appreciate you speaking up about that. Thank you. Thank you. We're starting to see more of it though, because people are moving out away from the city, right?
Right.
People are working from home now and a lot bigger percentages. And therefore they say, hey, I can have more house and I can have more land and I can, if I move out to the sticks and I don't have to live in Midtown or whatever, right? We talked about, hey, I shouldn't say the sticks. I'm sorry. I meant nothing by that.
It's the sticks.
But if I've got $300,000, I can either have a little studio apartment or studio condo in Midtown, or I could have an estate out in Tequila or something, right? So you get an opportunity to decide whatever you want. If being close to the city isn't all that important to you, then you can go have more land and more house. Make sense? All right. Was this helpful today?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, beautiful. So just a reminder, so one other thing, if we have a coaching session tomorrow, then I'm just gonna, let's do it via phone instead of via, what's it called? WhatsApp or Zoom. Okay. Cool. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. And please let me know if there's anything that I can do to support you. Don't forget to download the new daily success tracker, so you're making sure you're tracking the right stuff. And if you can take a moment and finish up all your reporting for the month of December, that would be fantastic. Okay, have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you too.